What if our next unforgettable expedition doesn't just lead us to a new spot on the map, but unlocks new perspectives on the world and even human existence itself? Imagine stepping into a realm where the lines between what's real and what's virtual blur. Picture connections between people expanding beyond the familiar ways we communicate. In the year 2020, we can no longer simply think of robots as mere machines. They are evolving beyond simple mechanisms and taking on entirely new roles in our lives. These technological marvels are not only helping us with everyday chores, but they are fundamentally reshaping how we interact with each other. They are becoming our companions, partners, and sometimes even our rivals in the realm of emotional bonds and personal relationships. This transformation prompts us to deeply contemplate how it impacts our understanding of culture, identity, and what we consider to be human values. Picture yourself in a world populated by hyper-realistic robots. Imagine a place where technology has advanced to such a degree that it can create beings that appear almost alive. These beings are capable of interacting with humans on an emotional level. By immersing ourselves in this world, we can discover the innovations that make these creations possible, such as artificial intelligence systems, neural networks, and materials that mimic the look and feel of human skin and facial expressions. All of this leads to a fundamental question. What does this all mean for the future of humanity, its evolution, and the very concept of human identity? What if your next journey isn't about traversing physical space, but about delving into a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you? Imagine walking through a bustling marketplace, surrounded by the vibrant energy of life. You exchange smiles, brief stories, and glances with a vendor. Suddenly you realize that this person is not actually human. Instead, they are an artificial intelligence creation, remarkably similar to a living person. Would you even be able to tell the difference? And if you couldn't, what would that say about the future of our connections and how we perceive our own identities? With the rapid advancement of technology, the boundaries between what is human and what is machine are becoming increasingly blurred. Artificial intelligence and robotics are no longer just tools to assist us. They are transforming our world, raising fundamental questions about what truly makes us human and what defines a machine. Looking back at previous decades, machines were often bulky, clumsy, and sometimes even comical. Today, hyper-realistic robots can hold meaningful conversations, express emotions, and even adapt to the individual preferences of each person. Their skin, created using advanced technologies, looks and feels incredibly real. Their eyes, controlled by artificial intelligence, follow our gaze with astonishing precision. However, as these machines become more sophisticated, deep and complex questions arise. What does this mean for our interpersonal relationships, our friendships, and even the very concept of humanity? Some believe that these innovations can enrich our lives, bringing new opportunities and forms of interaction. Others fear that these technologies could erode the delicate fabric of human connections, making them less genuine and more superficial. We are heading towards a future where robots might challenge the very essence of human existence, forcing us to reevaluate our understanding of ourselves. Stay with us as we embark on this exciting and thought-provoking journey to explore the frontiers of the future. Let's delve into the new horizons of innovation that are already transforming our world. Companies like RealDoll and True Companion are actively developing hyper-realistic robots. These robots are designed not only to look like living beings, but also to interact with humans on a deep emotional level. Among them, the Harmony model stands out. It not only answers questions, but also learns, remembers your preferences, and adapts to them over time. These robots use advanced neural networks, allowing them to mimic human emotions, creating an astonishing sense of authenticity. They ask questions, tell jokes, and remember details from the owner's life, creating an illusion of genuine closeness and trust that is almost indistinguishable from a real human connection. The achievements of the modern robotics industry are truly impressive, and the cost of these devices varies widely. Some of the simpler models designed for basic tasks can cost just a few $100s, making them accessible to a wide range of users. However, fully customized robots, created to order with personal preferences and features in mind, can cost tens of thousands of dollars. This phenomenon raises many questions and reflections. What drives the development of such a field? Many experts and analysts point to the growing feelings of loneliness and social isolation that are prevalent in the modern world. In a world where people increasingly feel disconnected from loved ones and those around them, these robots offer a unique opportunity to find some form of companionship, free from the fear of rejection or disappointment. But this raises an important question. What happens to human connections if more and more interactions move into the realm of technology? Can this be considered true progress? Or is it a step too far from what makes relationships truly human and genuine? Many are searching for answers and sharing them in the comments. And if you are enjoying this exploration of the future, be sure to subscribe and like the video for more content. The journey of robots from their humble and simple beginnings has been long and eventful. In the distant past, they performed only the simplest tasks, lifted heavy objects, cleaned, or assisted in manufacturing. Back then, these machines were merely tools, devoid of emotions and personal qualities, and seen more as equipment than as something alive. However, today we are witnessing a completely different stage of development. Technology has advanced to the point where robots are capable of hyper-realistic communication, and some models can already be considered friends or emotional partners. These devices are no longer just assistants. They are transforming into beings capable of intellectual and emotional interaction, blurring the lines between humans and machines. Modern robots can hold meaningful and engaging conversations, recognize emotional cues, and respond to them. For example, one of the most notable models in this industry is Roxy, created by True Company. It not only has a high degree of realism, but is also customizable to the user's individual preferences. You can choose her personality, such as witty or shy, making each interaction unique. Thanks to the development of artificial intelligence, these communications are becoming frighteningly similar to conversations with real people. Creating a sense of genuine connection, industry leaders such as Real Doll are going even further by incorporating virtual reality technologies. Systems like Oculus Rift make it possible to create fully immersive virtual environments where a robot companion can not only talk and react, but also simulate emotional involvement, sense touch, and respond to it. Ultimately, the goal is to create robots that are virtually indistinguishable from humans, capable of listening, learning, and remembering details of communication, making the interaction as natural as possible. Sometimes these virtual conversationalists turn out to be more convenient and reliable than real people because they don't get tired, don't get angry, and are always ready to help. Today, this is no longer a niche market, but a rapidly growing industry. Experts predict that global revenues from the sale of companion robots will exceed $1 billion by the end of this decade. Although models like Roxy cost approximately $7,000, demand for these devices is growing among wealthy buyers, technology enthusiasts, and collectors seeking uniqueness and innovation. However, the main question remains open. Can robots really replace human interaction, or is it just an illusion that can mislead us and change our habits and perceptions of interaction? As we prepare new facts and ideas for discussion, we can take a small step towards the future and think about its prospects. It is important to remember that the development of technology opens up new horizons for us, but at the same time poses important ethical and social questions for society. Understanding how our world will change when human connections are redefined by artificial intelligence and robotics requires careful and in-depth analysis. Imagine a future where in offices, on the streets, and in homes, people encounter devices that will not only perform the functions of assistance or entertainment, but will also become full-fledged companions, capable of engaging in deep personal conversations, expressing emotions, and creating a sense of genuine connection. These robots will smile sincerely, blink in time with our words, and react with various emotional nuances, just like real people. Gradually, the boundaries between the artificial and the real will begin to blur, and these machines will become almost indistinguishable from real conversational partners. This innovative shift opens up amazing opportunities for humanity to improve lives and comfort. However, at the same time, it raises crucial, sometimes very difficult questions about the future of society. Are we ready for a world in which robots take on roles previously intended only for humans? Will their presence enrich our lives? Will it add warmth and support? Or on the contrary, will it take away something most valuable? Our unique humanity, our imperfection, real living connections, and the sincere authenticity of feelings. The question is not just about replacing women or workers with robots. It's deeper. It's about how such changes will change the structure of society and redefine the very nature of human relationships and interactions. Therefore, when thinking about the future, it is important to understand whether we are ready to accept a reality in which robots become part of our everyday lives, and sometimes even our close companions and friends. When discussing this topic, it would be useful to share your own opinions and thoughts, because this is a crucial dialogue about how technology shapes our future. In this situation, it is especially important to consider one of the most disturbing aspects of the impact of hyper-realistic robots on human connections, which traditionally define our essence. British researcher Kathleen Richardson warns that artificial relationships risk reducing the complexity of human interaction to simple physical contact, bypassing the very emotional depth and complexity that makes real connections truly meaningful. She argues that such simulations can replace love, mutual understanding, and vulnerability. The unpredictability and sincerity inherent only in living people will disappear. In this new world, where companionship, communication, and intimacy will be available on demand, the question arises, will this convenience lead to a detachment from those unique connections that make us truly human? Will there be a danger that we will begin to perceive relationships with robots as something commonplace, devoid of depth and real meaning? The ethical dilemma is that such technologies can unintentionally encourage harmful behaviors. Philosopher and ethics researcher Catherine Milhorn asks an important question. What will happen if people start venting their fantasies, frustrations, or even negative emotions on robots without consequences? This type of interaction can lead to a dissonant perception of the boundaries of reality and illusions, forming unhealthy attitudes towards consent and empathy. As a result, such an imbalance can negatively affect real interpersonal contacts, destroying important social skills and trust. As technology evolves and penetrates our lives, humanity faces the question, do the benefits that companion robots promise really outweigh all the possible risks? Robots can provide us with comfort and emotional support, which seems attractive and convenient. However, will this convenience cause the loss of genuine human connections, their unpredictability, and complexity? Catherine Milhorn emphasizes that, despite the ability of robots to imitate humans, they will never be able to replace the unique mix of difficulties, joys, and imperfections that make our relationships real and deep. To ignore this is to risk losing part of what makes us truly human, our sincere vulnerability and vivid, rich feelings. Therefore, we face an important question. Are we ready to accept such a future? Let's try together to understand this complex and multifaceted issue. After all, many modern female robots are created with the clear goal of emphasizing their subordinate role, their service function, or their focus on satisfying human needs and desires. In the development process, such machines are usually endowed with personality traits that make them more compliant, submissive, or even flirtatious, since these features correspond to existing social norms and stereotypes. They cause doubts or resistance. They are often programmed to obey their owner without objection, to demonstrate obedience or compliance, rather than to express their own opinions or independence. This situation is largely due to the historical dominance of the male perspective in the field of artificial intelligence and robotics. After all, the majority of engineers and designers who create these technologies are men. Their biases and stereotypes unwittingly influence the end result, shaping robots that reflect narrow ideas about the roles of men and women, about what women should be and what men should be. As a result, devices are formed in which female robots are often endowed with traits of submissiveness, obedience, gentleness, and compliance, while their male counterparts are endowed with traits of dominance, assertiveness, and authoritarianism. These differences highlight a disturbing trend in which modern technologies, instead of breaking down outdated stereotypes, often reinforce them, albeit in less visible but very important forms. Even those companion robots that are positioned as assistants or companions often reproduce these biased attitudes. For example, robots that greet the user with excessive politeness, learn to agree with their preferences, or show excessive obedience may seem harmless, but in reality, they unwittingly support the idea that women are created to serve and obey. The question is whether such technology is moving society forward, or whether it is, quietly, imperceptibly, reinforcing outdated norms and stereotypes.